Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today we are going to be talking about all of the matchups that you guys need to keep an eye on for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Week 6 matchup versus the Packers. Currently, the Bucs are 3-2, the Packers are 4-0. They had to take a very early bye week because of illnesses and things like that. I don't believe for their team, but I believe for the opposing team that they were supposed to be playing in their Week 5 matchup. But let's get started talking about some of these matchups that we should keep an eye on for this game versus the Packers here in week number 6. The first matchup that I want to mention is going to be Davante Adams versus Carlton Davis. I can't remember who pointed it out on Twitter. It might have been Chris Fisher. It might have been Taylor Jenkins from Pewter Report. It might have been somebody else. Cannot remember off the top of my head. But they made the point of noting that so far the past 3 weeks, including this upcoming game versus the Packers, Carlton Davis will have gone up against Keenan Allen and the Chargers. Then he went up against Allen Robinson and the Bears. And now he's going up against Davante Adams and the Green Bay Packers. And even taking it back further than that, he went up against DJ Moore and the Panthers, against the Broncos. I believe it was like Tim Patrick, something along those lines. And then it was Michael Thomas and the Saints. So overall, Carlton Davis has been tested a lot throughout the first half of this season in terms of overall matchups against number 1 wide receivers, and in my opinion, Carlton Davis has been a very good cornerback. I believe I saw it yesterday or something along those lines that he was tied for the league lead in interceptions right now. I don't know if this is standard now considering all the other games that were played, but at one point Carlton Davis was tied for the lead, or he had the lead himself in terms of interceptions for the season. So shout out to Carlton Davis. That's my hashtag number 1 cornerback, but he has another incredibly tough matchup in Davante Adams, who in my opinion is right up there with Keenan Allen and Michael Thomas in terms of best wide receivers in the league. In my opinion, I think that he's underrated. I know a lot of people say that he's overrated. That makes him underrated in my opinion. I think that Davante Adams really is one of the better wide receivers in the entire NFL. The dude is an absolute insane athlete and is an overall phenomenal receiver. His biggest concern really has to do with injuries and things like that. So I don't know how healthy he is going to be versus Carlton Davis, but it's one giant physical wide receiver versus one giant physical cornerback, so get your popcorn ready for that one, because that's going to be a pretty good matchup in my opinion. Both guys have been playing very well so far this season. The second matchup to keep an eye on is going to be Mike Evans versus Jaire Alexander. I believe I'm saying his name right, Jaire Alexander. Who knows? But much like the Davante Adams versus Carlton Davis matchup, this one is equally as tantalizing in my opinion. Mike Evans, one of the best wide receivers in the league. He has 6 total touchdowns so far this year. He's been an absolute monster in the red zone, basically unstoppable. You can't stop Mike Evans from scoring in the red zone so far this year. But Jaire Alexander, I think it's Jaire Alexander. Jaire Alexander has been a phenomenal cornerback for the Packers for years. I wanted him back whenever he was drafted. I don't remember the exact year he was drafted, maybe 2017, 2018, something along those lines. I think actually he was in the same draft class as Carlton Davis, and he's a phenomenal cornerback. He is one of the best young cornerbacks in the league right now. In fact, one of the best cornerbacks, period, in the NFL right now. I think that he is an absolute beast, both in man coverage, zone coverage, press coverage, you name it, he can really do it. And he has been an absolute staple in terms of how good that Packers defense has been here in the past. He's one of the main reasons as to why. So Mike Evans versus Jaire Alexander is going to be pretty darn good, especially in the red zone. So keep an eye on that matchup as well. The next matchup worth mentioning is going to be Aaron Jones versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers front 7 minus Vita. Now, Aaron Jones is one of the better running backs in the entire NFL. Back whenever Mike McCarthy was the head coach with the Packers, he was not using Aaron Jones a whole lot then. The new head coach came along for the Green Bay Packers, and things just absolutely exploded in terms of the offense. So far this year, the Packers have been looking so good with Matt LaFleur and all the things that he's been able to do in terms of reinvigorating this offense. I mean, Rodgers is playing at an MVP level. Aaron Jones is continuing the pretty darn good season he had last year. He's been looking like one of the best running backs in the NFL. And overall, this Packers offense has looked like so far up to this point as one of the better offenses in the NFL. Like right up there with the Kansas City Chiefs and Ravens and things like that. The Packers are absolutely no joke. One of the biggest reasons for that is Aaron Jones. So versus this Tampa Bay Buccaneers front seven is going to be interesting. If it was Vita there, I would feel a lot more confident. The Buccaneers still boast one of the better run defenses, if not the best run defense in the entire NFL. But now that Vita is gone, Raheem Nunez-Roche is in his place. I saw some people tweet out, that there's like a rumor that the Buccaneers had reached out to Damian Harrison. I saw really nobody too credible confirming that, so who knows if they did or did not, but Raheem Nunez-Roche right now in the immediate sense is going to be that guy to fill in at nose tackle. How is he going to perform? He's always been kind of a fringe starter guy in my opinion. I will probably be talking about Raheem Nunez-Roche a lot this week, but so far this is going to be one of the more interesting, probably more game-deciding matchups, which is Aaron Jones versus now this Vita Vea-less run defense that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to employ. Sue has still been doing some great things this year. William Golston has been doing some insane things this year, and Levante David, Devin White, Shaq Barrett, and Jason Pierre-Paul are still in this defensive front seven as well, but Vita Vea was such a huge loss for this defense as a whole, so pay attention to Aaron Jones. Things could get messy here really quickly because of this absence of Vita Vea, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully everything holds up well. The next matchup worth mentioning is going to be basically Donovan Smith versus either Preston Smith or Zadarius Smith. It's a lot of Smiths there. It looks weird in my notes. I just have Smith versus Smith. Kind of confusing, but it's Donovan Smith versus Preston Smith or Zadarius Smith. I don't know which one they're going to be lining up against Donovan Smith, but guys, I'm going to be completely honest with you, and I did kind of mention this in my overall rant video talking about the offensive line and whether or not it would be a problem for the remainder of this season. But, I'm a patient guy, right? I feel like I am, okay? In terms of being analytical with things and giving time to certain things revolving around the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I feel like I do a pretty decent job at that overall. I try not to let my emotions and things like that cloud my judgment and make very quick assumptions on how things are going to go and things like that, okay? That's how I try and live my life as a Buccaneers fan. It has been 5 years now, maybe even a little bit longer, with Donovan Smith, and my patience has kind of run thin. And I'm basically just going to put my thing down here right now. I'm not done with Donovan Smith. I'm not saying that, okay? But I will point out when he does good. Of course I will. But at this point, him doing good is overachieving for him, okay? I really don't have high expectations for Donovan Smith anymore as a left tackle. I'm just, yeah, but to say the least, to make it simple here, I'm basically done assuming that Donovan Smith is going to improve. I think that the Donovan Smith we see now is the Donovan Smith we are going to see for the rest of his NFL career, which is a around average to maybe sometimes above average left tackle in the NFL. And that's just the way it's going to be. So my expectations for him, that's where it's at. So who knows how he's going to do. I think he's going to be playing at around an average left tackle point in this game versus Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith, which means he's probably going to get beat a couple of times, and we'll just have to wait and see how that happens there. Zadarius Smith, really one of the more underrated pass rushers in the entire NFL. Same thing can be said with Preston Smith, and yeah, I expect Donovan Smith to get beat a couple of times here. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, it's taken like 5 years, guys. But in terms of my overall expectations for Donovan Smith, it is what it is, okay? He's going to be an average left tackle. Sometimes he's going to be maybe slightly above average. Sometimes he's going to be, pretty below average, and that's just the way that things are going to be with Donovan Smith. Overall, he's just going to be an average left tackle, and that's never going to change or improve, in my opinion. Again, I will point out if he has a good game. I'm always going to point out if he has a bad game, but it is what it is. That's my expectation of just average left tackle play from Donovan Smith. It ain't going to improve. But with that being said, let's move on to the final matchup to pay attention to, guys. It is Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a playoff matchup. Okay, the Buccaneers are still sitting pretty at 3-2. The Packers are 4-0. I've seen a lot of people in the comment section talk about how there ain't no way we're beating the Packers, James. I understand that. I think the Buccaneers do have a very, solid chance to beat this Green Bay Packers team. They look phenomenal on both sides of the football, mind you, but I still trust Tom Brady and the boys. I feel like Tom Brady can rally the troops, maybe rally the offensive line and get some things going there, and hopefully he gets some of his weapons back. Leonard, fournette, Chris Godwin, among some of these other guys as well, like Scotty Miller, Justin Watson, get fully healthy, and then let's see what happens in this Packers game. But obviously, if the injuries still persist, that could be a problem, but it's two Hall of Fame quarterbacks playing against each other. You know that's going to be some good football. I know the Bucs are coming off of a very sour win versus the Bears, so they are going to be very determined, Tom Brady probably being the most determined out of the bunch. So let's see what happens. This could be a potential playoff game somewhere down the line, and you all know that I am here for it. The Buccaneers are going to be getting to a stretch here of some good football where they play the Packers, the Vikings, the Kansas City Chiefs, and those are all playoff slash, Super Bowl games, in my opinion, especially with like the Chiefs. So very excited to watch two Hall of Fame quarterbacks go toe-to-toe this upcoming Sunday. But guys, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts about all of this down in the comment section below. What do you think about all of the matchups that I mentioned? What's some of the other matchups that you guys are going to be looking forward to in this game versus the Packers? But guys, thanks so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs!